When we talk about a map scale, we're talking about how much the map has been reduced in size to represent the same area of the real world. So any scale is just sort of a reduction in size. And the way that we usually set this up is as a ratio or as a percentage. In this example, this is an HO scale train. An HO scale means that the scale of the toy trains are 1 to 87. In other words, everything on that train is 1/87th the size of what it would be on a real train. So things have just basically been shrunk down by a factor of 87. So with the map scale, we use the same sort of ratio. There's no numbers associated with it because they'll cancel each other out. So we just either represent a scale with a colon in between it, such as 1 to 24,000, or 1 over 24,000. And that would mean that 1 inch on the map represents 24,000 inches in the real world, or 1 centimeter on the map represents 24,000 centimeters in the real world. And we can just adjust it. We also have to remember the difference between large scale and small scale, which I'll show here in a minute. So usually on a map we might see something like this. We have the graphical scale, which if we have a piece of paper or use our fingers, we might use for making rough measurements on the map. But the true scale of the map is represented here. So this 1 to 25,000 or 250,000 or 1 over 250,000 once again means 1 unit on the map represents the same 250,000 of the same units in the real world. And we can also write that out because 250,000 is approximately equal to 4 miles. So 1 inch on this map would approximately equal 4 miles. When we start mapping, we can map at different scales. And the thing to remember here is the smaller the number is here after the colon, the larger the scale of the map is. And that's because 1 inch on this map represents here 24,000 inches in the real world, but 1 inch on this map over here represents 250,000 inches in the real world. So we have to be zoomed out to see for 1 inch to equal 250,000 inches. So we call these small scale maps even though they show a larger area, and we call these large scale maps even though they're zoomed in on a very small area. And here we can see Marytown here, and how it's changing with the different scales. Of course, the advantage of a large scale map, such as the one on the right of Miami here, is that we can show more details than we could on a small scale map. Here's the area that's shown on the right here, and we can see there's just not room on this map to put in all of the smaller streets and to put in other areas of interest like the campus and the courthouse and the Performing Arts Center. All of those things just won't fit within that area there. So by making this small scale, or this large scale map here, we're able to zoom in and see a lot more detail here. And we can see that this map is a 1 to 24,000 and this map over here is a 1 to 500,000. Another way of thinking or keeping large scale and small scale straight is if we divide 1 by 24,000, we would get a very small number, but not as small as if we divide 1 by 500,000. So this is the small scale map over here.